All right, hello everybody, and my name's Ian. This is Starship Adventures, and on today's adventure, we're going to be taking a long drive. This is going to be about an hour and 10-minute drive that we're going to be taking today, and we're leaving a location down in South Fort Myers, and I'm going to be heading to a location in Punta. So this is going to be, like I said, about an hour and 10-minute drive. And we are, in fact, going to be going up we're not going to use the interstate. In fact, I'm going to be going right back over here, and we're going to be using US 41, which is the Tamiami Trail. And we're going to drive all the way up. I'm testing equipment. I'm also just working to see what kind of content people want. God, I hate roundabouts. These things are so stupid. They just inconvenience every single person. It's like we want them because they're fair, because they inconvenience everybody equally. All right, so this is like a little medical area down here, way down in South Fort Myers. It's kind of a weird day. We've got blue skies above, but we've also got some weird gray clouds moving through. It's kind of tropical. We've had a low pressure system for about 3 days sitting off in the Gulf of Mexico. I am going to be watching the chat. I've got the phone set to where the chat is I can just glance over at it, and we'll see what's going on there. Hopefully some folks will find me. I don't know. But like I said, we're going to get over to US 41 here in just a few minutes. This is Metro Parkway. One of the things I want to talk about today in the commentary that's going to go along with this tour is the fact that this area right here, Fort Myers, and Naples too, but we're not going to be talking about Naples today. But Fort Myers and even Punta Gorda are some of the fastest growing counties in the fastest growing state. And it's no fooling around. We are growing so fast down here that they're literally having a hard time with utilities and capacity, and road capacity and things like that are really becoming challenged because there is just way too many people down. What it is, we want these people, right? We do want these people here, and we do want our visitors, and we do want also not just our visitors, but we want our snowbirds. You know, a lot of what we do down here is financed because of our snowbirds, and the reason our roads are so nice a lot of times is because of our snowbirds. And so, that being said, you know, we need them to come here and spend their retirement money that they made up north. That really helps our economy down here. You know, Florida is one of the lowest, if not the lowest taxed state in the country, believe it or not. This area right here specifically has a fairly low tax rate, and both locally and state. We pay no state income tax here, and taxes are generally pretty inexpensive. Our state here runs no debt, like, you know, California's billions and billions and billions of dollars in debt. Many states are billions in debt, millions in debt anyway. And Florida is not. Florida operates in the black every year. I know that the phone is off center a little bit, but I don't want to break my bracket. So I'm just I think we're going to live with it just like that. I'm using a Samsung S20, probably one of the best phones on the market right now. I bought it for $150. You know, these people, a lot of people, and you may be one of them out there that likes to go ahead and go to Verizon or one of these big carriers and buy these $1,200 phones, and then put insurance on these $1,200 phones, and then turn on these $1,200 phones and make payments on them. And plus all your comms taxes and everything else. When you get all done, your bill's hundreds and hundreds of dollars for cell phone. That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not even going to tell you what carrier I use. All I'm going to tell you is you go to a pay-as-you-go carrier. Don't ever go to a carrier where you're going on a contract. You actually get better, cheaper service. You get the same service for less if you go with a carrier that is actually a pay-as-you-go carrier because you're not paying for the credit of them waiting on their money. I pay ahead of time. I pay ahead. I pay $93 and I get 3 lines, unlimited, unlimited, unlimited. And that's it. That's all I pay because I don't have phone insurance. I don't have a phone bill on, where I'm paying for the phone itself. Okay. And I'm with a carrier that I actually get the service for less than probably you do. And here's how I do it. It's not a secret. Don't buy your cell phone from the carrier. My God, that's the worst thing you can do. You buy your cell phone from somebody like on Amazon. I go on Amazon and I buy my phone. And I spent on this phone here I think it was 140 something. I think after tax it was like 150 bucks. And I've got a Samsung S20. It's the latest phone. It's the one that Verizon would sell you this phone. And they would charge you $1,200 for it. But you can buy them all day long that are open, that don't have as much bloatware in them. And you can buy them all day long on Amazon. Okay, this is US 41 on the right, the Bell Tower Mall. This was the second mall built in the area. And this mall does okay, but it has never really completely thrived. It's one of those things where it was built at the end of the mall boom, late 80s, early 90s, kind of the malls were in their heyday. They built this mall, and in a few years after that, they built the Metro Mall, which was right behind the Edison Mall. A pretty substantially ignorant thing to do, but they did it. And of course, that mall never survived. They built an entire mall, and the entire mall went out of business. And now that building that used to be this big X-shaped building that used to be called the Metro Mall is now the Lee County School Board building. And that's where they have the meetings, and they have adult education there, and administrative offices, and their AV departments and stuff are all centered out of that one building. Let's see here. This is kind of an older strip here. When I was a teenager, this was all just starting to become a big area down here, and it's been going for a little while. There's Mission Barbecue. Mission Barbecue has really good food. My problem with Mission Barbecue is they got really big prices, and I don't like the fact that their food just costs a lot more than our local barbecue. We've got a place here called Smokin' Pit. It used to be called Fat Boys, but I guess it was determined at some point that was no longer correct verbiage, and so they changed it to the Smokin' Pit. It's been locally owned and operated for like 50 years. I can remember standing there looking up over the counter with my dad when we were picking up our food, and I still go and eat there today. It's amazing. I love places that have been around a really long time. So Mission Barbecue does have good food. They're just a little expensive for me. I like the local barbecue places. You can get the big plates and stuff for $10 still, and that's the way to go. Mission Barbecue's more a la carte. You'll be $15 getting out of there. Let's see here. Down here, the big advertisers on the radio, believe it or not, because I work in radio, the big advertisers on the radio, kind of like in your town, I'm sure the attorneys get a lot of time on the radio. But I'll tell you, the other big one down here, air conditioning companies and doctors' offices. Lots of that. We're getting to see a lot of that. Let's see. Good morning, Red. How you doing? I don't think notifications went out again because only 3 people popped up. So, but hopefully, hey Junior, what's up, man? Hopefully it went out. But yeah, this is going to be about an hour drive. I'm at Crystal and 41. This is a fairly congested, busy part of Fort Myers. And we are still south of the city limits. Fort Myers has a unique thing where, when you go to like places like Jacksonville, the entire county is the city. It's very different here. Fort Myers is actually fairly small. 2/3 of the area that people call Fort Myers, or that has Fort Myers on the address, believe it or not, is actually in unincorporated Lee County, which is kind of a weird thing. It's like, why is it like that? Well, Fort Myers, I'm going to be totally honest. Right here to my left, one of the biggest bad neighborhoods that we've got in this area. And up here on the right, another one. Out east, 2 or 3 more. What happened was Fort Myers annexed all the way up to really bad neighborhoods, and then they stopped. And so for years, these really bad neighborhoods, both in East Fort Myers and in South Fort Myers, and you can kind of say the same thing about North Fort Myers, because of these bad neighborhoods, they stopped annexing. So the city never did quite annex and become really big. Now, they're annexing out past I-75 right now. They annexed clear around bad neighborhoods to gobble up land that's about to get built up with universities and multifamily housing and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Victor, what's up, man? I'm doing good. The adventure today, we're going from South Fort Myers to Punta Gorda. And right here, we're passing an asphalt truck. So there you go, an asphalt hopper. Ajax, one of our big road building companies down here. They may be nationwide, I have no idea. All right, we're coming in. This is there's your Sam's Club over there that's been there, one of the original Sam's Clubs. Over here on the right, Dick's, Ross, Best Buy. I got to tell you, Best Buy was my go-to for a little while. Originally, it was Circuit City. I remember when Circuit City first came to town. What a neat store that was. And it was when they closed the final one here about 20 years ago, they actually found the woman that rang up the first purchase in the store. They knew who she was, and they invited her back to ring up the last purchase in the store. And I thought that was really, really cool. I love nostalgic crap like that. And we just passed Page Field. Page Field was a military airfield that was used to train World War II pilots, along with Buckingham Airfield and several others that we have in the area here. A number of military airports that were used during the war were later repurposed into general aviation airports. To the right, this is Edison Mall. This mall's been around a long time, about as long as I have, 50 plus years, and it's seen better days, but it's still hanging in there, still at about 90% occupancy. Not doing too bad compared to other malls in the area. But it is the first and the biggest, and that's those kind of things help it out. Now we're in the city of Fort Myers as we pass Boy Scout Drive back there. The mall, the airport's not in the city, however, the mall is. So we are now in the city. This to the right here used to be one of the United Telephone System's big switching stations for Southwest Florida, and the building is still used today for switching equipment. Years ago, all the calls had to be gathered up and then shunted into the long lines, AT&T long line system, so they could be radioed to other parts of the country, and then finally satellite dishes. We're going to be doing a feature one night on the long line system. I would love to talk to you guys about that system and how it works. It's an amazing thing. And it's no longer around today. It's completely been dismantled, and many of the towers are still around. I'll point one out here in just a minute. I feel like one of those tour bus guys. And on the left, another golf course that's about to close down. And yeah, on the right, that's where Ponderosa used to be before they ripped it down. There's Taco Bell. Always run for the border. And lots of construction through here. This is an old part of Fort Myers. Fowler Street was like where all the car lots were and everything. And then they put this road in to be a bypass, because that road became so busy, and then all the businesses moved over here to the bypass. Then now the city's taxes go up year after year, so a lot of these businesses have moved south of Boy Scout. Why? Because remember what I told you? They didn't annex down there. It's not in the city of Fort Myers. You could have a business on a really, really busy street and yet not have to deal with the fact that you're in the city and you have to pay city taxes. You know, a lot of people don't realize it, but if you live in a city, you have to pay more taxes. People in Fort Myers pay additional property tax. And in a lot of places, it's done different ways. But when you live in a city, you pay tax, but you still pay the same amount of tax in county. It's funny because I live in the county and I have street lights and sidewalks and everything else just like people have in the city. But I don't pay city taxes every year. It's a lot cheaper for me to live. That hospital on the left that you can see there on the corner of your screen, that's Lee Memorial Hospital. That's where I was born. And my mother was in that hospital not long ago, unfortunately. They're going to rip it down next year. They're building a brand new facility. That green building on the right used to be my eye doctor. But yep, this is my old stomping grounds. You have the Lions Park on the left. They came about 15 years ago and they ripped all those big, beautiful swing sets and all the big chain swing sets and the big, huge slides and all that. They came and ripped it all out and put that rubber matting, plastic, we don't want nobody to hurt themselves shit everywhere. And now that's the park. So there you go. Here we go. We're going to be going over the Caloosahatchee Bridge. This is that bridge that they screwed up so bad. They literally closed the bridge down for 10 or 12 weeks. And during that closure, they shortened the lanes. They made each lane 1 or 2 feet shorter. 2 lanes were made a foot shorter. 2 lanes were made 2 foot shorter. And so there you go. Now, because a few people wanted the fitness walk over the bridge, and also sometimes the bums like to use it. So because of that, now we all have to drive in lanes that are much more narrow. See how much room that car ahead of me has in the lane? Watch what happens when we go around this little bend right here. The lanes get incredibly small. And all of a sudden, the car in front of me can barely fit in the lane. Look at this. Look where he's at now. Now that's a little car. If you were in a truck, you can't even use this lane. Trucks have to use the right lane. Look how narrow this is. You're literally right up against both walls here. And they moved everything over so they could have a pedestrian lane over there. I want you to notice there's never anybody, maybe 1 or 2 fitness walkers, maybe 1 sternobum moving his shopping cart full of his personal effects from one sleeping area to another. Other than that, that's about it. I think I see 1 fitness walker on the entire bridge. And the thing is, the bridge right over there, you can probably even see it out the right there. There's a bridge right over there. You can see it on the camera. That's the Edison Bridge. It has a beautiful lane you can walk down. It's protected and everything. We didn't need to do that to this bridge. Over there on the left, that's the North Fort Myers buildingscape. And North Fort Myers is a bedroom community for Fort Myers, basically. And those first 2 buildings there, those are old. Those are the Robert E. Lee. It's not called that anymore, of course, because that would be politically incorrect. But years ago, when we would come over this bridge when we were kids, they would turn on the porch lights so that it said R.E. Lee across the front of that building. And then to the left there, we've got cell towers. You can see them up on top of those buildings. You got cell elements up there. Those other buildings are all just rentals, apartments, different things like that. Now this is North Fort Myers. This is where I grew up. This is my stomping grounds here. There's my old Pizza Hut. It's now a head shop. There's Daddy D's ice cream. I got ice cream in there when I was 3 years old. You know, people always say they come down to Florida, there's no tradition down here. There's no buildings that are really that old. Well, you know what? I'm 55 years old, and there's still a lot of stuff that's still in business from when I was a kid. So I don't know. I don't know that that's necessarily true. It's just we don't go back 150 years like Baltimore does, or like, you know, Philadelphia, you know, places like that have a 200-year history. We really don't down here because this was nothing but mosquito-ridden swampland down here. And Florida really didn't become popular until they invented the air conditioning. I mean, that's a fact. All right, let me check the chat here. See if there's anything coming up. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any active military bases. We have a guard armory here in Fort Myers, where they keep some Humvees and stuff, and the guys go to train. But that's a National Guard armory, a Florida National Guard armory. There is no active military bases right around here. However, just 2 short hours up the road, you've got CENTCOM. You've got probably the North American Command right there. So that's also where they fly a lot of the drones globally, are flown out of Tampa. So you got that. Like, Tampa's also the National Hurricane, or the National Weather Service office, not the Hurricane Center, that's in Miami, but Ruskin right there in Tampa. That's also where most of the weather for South and Central and even North Florida comes from. They do it there in Ruskin, Florida. Tampa's a big area, big universities up there. You've got the Tampa and the Clearwater and the St. Petersburg area. I mean, it's more than just Tampa. It's really like a tri-city up there. I mean, and you're in a big city, and all of a sudden you're in another big city. Oh, that's Clearwater. Oh, wait, that's St. Petersburg. I mean, it's pretty big. There's NFL stadium there, Tampa Bay Bucks. Tampa's a big place. A lot of people don't realize. And Jacksonville's a huge place here in Florida. And it's funny that a lot of people don't realize that how big Jacksonville really is. Jacksonville's one of those big towns that never really makes the news. They don't really do like colossally stupid shit there all the time like everywhere else. And so they end up not making the news that much. And it's always weird because I hear about Tampa, I hear about Miami, I even hear a lot about Orlando, which is really, it's big, but it's not, it's not a huge metro. But you don't hear much about Jacksonville. Jacksonville is like one of the more densely populated areas of Florida. What did I think of Star Trek Day? Well, the state of Star Trek, I don't know. I have very mixed emotions about Star Trek. I don't like most of the new stuff they're doing now. Strange New Worlds, I like a lot of the people in it, and it's hit and miss. But I'll be honest, there's some of it I'm just, God, they're just not doing good writing. You know what kills science fiction? You know what killed Space 1999? What killed some of Battlestar Galactica, the first run? Even what plagued Star Trek, the original series in the 3rd season? It was bad writing. It was bad writing. You can have the prettiest ship, the best captain, the best crew, great looking uniforms, phaser beams that look real. You can have the whole bit. But if you do some shitty ass writing, it's never going to be a good episode. Look at all the houses they're building up here on the left. Now, I'm going to slow down and I'm going to pull over here just for a second. There's just a few things I want to talk about on the way here. And this is one of them. We lost a piece of Americana this year. You see that damaged sign up ahead? That's the Shell Factory. This was a piece of roadside Americana, kind of like a Buc-ee's of its time, or a whatever. And this place, you can't go much further. It's gated. This is the Shell Factory, and Ian, the sign was already old and in disrepair, but Ian took out the sign, damaged the roof, and almost like started the beginning of the end, if you know what I mean, for this piece of roadside Americana. This was the largest Shell sales place in the world. They had more more real seashells here That thing you see in the middle is a big seashell. It's been spun around sideways, so you can't really see what it is. But that's a big fiberglass shell. And they had a Christmas shop, a Halloween shop, a fall shop. They had big gift shops. Their number one thing that they used to sell in here was Florida snowmen. It was a gimmick. Everybody would want to go and buy a Florida snowman to send home or to bring home. And you know what it was? It was a tall snow globe full of water. And in the bottom of the water, floating down at the bottom, not even floating, but on the bottom of the thing was all of the parts you need to make a snowman. And it was the joke. It's a Florida snowman. It's completely melted. And, but that was the gimmick, man. That was absolutely the gimmick. But I love this place. I grew up in this place. They had a big petting zoo. They even had a zip line towards the end. And the old man that was keeping it going died, and the family tried. They really did. But it, unfortunately, it had to go the way of so many other roadside pieces of Americana. And that's exactly what I call that place. I showed you guys the other night when we were driving around at night, I showed you the other side of that same building. Remember the building with all the red and white stripes on the outside, the Christmas house? That's that same building. That's the same place I told you about the other night. And yeah, it was a great place. Yeah. Yes, you've seen those, Junior? Aren't they awesome? I've sent them to people before because it's a fun, quirky gift that they can sit on their desk and everybody that walks in will find it funny. It's a joke that it's the gift that keeps on giving. There we go, another big, huge multifamily going in over there. I didn't even know that was going in. They are building, and this brings me to the main topic of today's drive. I started talking about it a little bit earlier, but Florida is growing. We are growing. We will probably grow exponentially in less than 10 years down here. I've never seen anything like it. They are building we've had contractors move from all over the country here and get their business license here and start doing it here, because this is where all the new construction, a lot of the new construction in the entire country is all being done here in Florida, and more specifically Southwest Florida. Our area is in an unprecedented boom right now. They keep talking about how the housing market is is busting in a lot of places. Ours down here is steady. It's not booming as much as it was, but it's still steady down here. And the reason why, because despite what the prices are, despite what the economy is, despite what the interest rates are, people are getting the F out of Dodge, and they're moving away from these big cities up north, and even in these rural areas, in these tax and spend states, and they're moving down here, and they're moving here as quick as they can move. I don't know if you know this or not, but U-Haul charges 5 times more for a U-Haul if you're driving south than if you're driving north. We've got we've got U-Hauls parked down the sides of the road down here. They've got storage lots full of U-Hauls down here, and they send people down every day. They fly down 50 or 100 people a day, and then they take Ubers to wherever the U-Hauls are from the airport, and then they take a U-Haul, they put another U-Haul on the back of U-Haul, and they'll piggyback them 2 or 3 at a time, and then put car carriers in the back and everything else. And then that person will drive that U-Haul complex of U-Hauls back up north again to New York or New Jersey or Michigan, Ohio, wherever all these people are coming from, mostly the Northeast, mostly near urban areas. And they're all moving here. And these U-Hauls come down, and there's nobody here to bring them back up north. They say for every one person, they say that one person moves to New York. Every time one person from Florida moves to New York, 9 people move from New York to Florida. At this rate, we're going to take 1, maybe 2 more congressional districts from New York next year. Next time around, coming up in 4 years. We will probably, because the next census is like almost a little less than 5 years away, and when the census comes, all these people that have moved to Florida, they count. And in the next census, the illegal immigrants will either A, not be here, or B, not be counted. When that happens, these blue states are going to lose so many of their congressional seats. It's going to be crazy, because states like mine are going to pick up so many seats. It's really nuts right now what's going on. Just slam on brakes right in front of me, folks. I love it. Yeah, the exodus from New York is amazing. Yeah, and it's booming all over the place. It's blooming up in the mountains where my cabin is. They're in a growth spurt. You know what their growth spurt is up there? Halfbacks. Halfbacks. And what a halfback is it's someone who moved from moved from New York to Florida, got down here and said, man, there is way too many effing people down here, especially from New York. It's just like living in New York. And so they go halfway back. Georgia, the taxes are pretty low. It's pretty good. And so a lot of people that are seeking that freedom, they're wanting to get away from the socialist republics like Maryland and places like that. They can move back to Georgia and still get most of what they moved away for. And so what that's causing is a situation where these people, so many of them have moved halfway back, that up in Georgia, they actually call them halfbacks. There's actually a name. And I don't even know that it's necessarily derogatory, because like with our tourists and our snowbirds down here, we love these folks. They bring us money. We don't, you'll hear people grumping sometimes, but we love these folks. Okay, see that thing on the left with the speed limit right there? That's a tag tracker. They just photographed the front and back of my car, tracked my tag, ran my tag for warrants, and logged permanently that my vehicle was traveling northbound at 53 miles an hour on US 41 at 10:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this date and everything, and that information is there forever. If that doesn't make you a little nervous, it should. And you've probably got them all over your town and you don't even realize it. I've done news stories on it here and nobody seems to give a shit. Nobody gives a shit that the sheriff's department is literally keeping data on where you're traveling. Hello? I mean, nobody sees a problem with that? Or they don't see a problem with that? I don't know. What's the problem? Oh my God. Come on, guys. I'm still working on this camera. I'm not happy with it. Oh, that's better. I think I like that. I bring the mirror down to touch it and that kind of keeps the jiggling down. I hope that you don't notice any jiggle on that. I need to put a little piece of rubber in there. That's what I need. That looks pretty good right there. You want to just see the hood, because any lower than that would be a waste, and that gives you plenty of sky. Or I could shoot it in that idiotic upright mode, and then you would see nothing but the car in front of me. Yes, and that's going to happen because as the people who are financially stable, let me just put it that way, as people get financially stable, they move to Florida. That's creating a vacuum in home buyers, which means that foreign investors are going to come in and buy up all those homes and buy up all those apartments and turn around and rent them to illegals, rent them to people who are on visas, rent them to all these different people. And so, I mean, it's not, I'm not even judging whether it's a good or bad thing, but that's what's going on. I'm telling you right now, that's what's going on, is all these places will be bought up by basically foreign investors is what it comes down to. It's foreign investors buying everything up. We've been seeing that with our farmland as well. We've been seeing that same thing. I'm working with the camera, guys. I'm trying to get it to stop jiggling. The camera itself's hot. I'm also trying to blow some air on it because it's starting to get a little warm. Because it's broadcasting, the screen's on full brightness, and it's charging the battery. All three of those things create lots of heat. All right, this area of 41 here, we just passed the landfill. This area of 41 is pretty rural up here. But this area will be growing very fast soon. South Fort Myers, down where Estero and St. Carlos Park and all that, it looked like this back in the 80s. And it's all nothing. It's constant concrete all the way down now. I actually love Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte area. That's called Charlotte County. Charlotte County by age is the oldest county in Florida. Now, I know you're thinking Florida's like the oldest people state in the country. It's one of them. Yeah, we've got one of the older populations in the country. And that being said, this county is the oldest of that. It could be one, if not the oldest aggregate population of any county in the country. I don't know. Yeah, I got the air blowing on it. I can't turn I'm keeping the fan speed pretty low because I don't want it to interfere with the audio as well. The car's running great. I ordered stickers just to put on all my equipment. That was the first thing I ordered. They're going to be in, I think, tomorrow or the next day, so that'll be pretty cool. But I'm going to have little stickers for all my equipment and stuff. And the next thing I'm buying, probably coming up, is going to be magnetic signs. I'm going to have them made in the same silver that the car is. And it's going to have my logo, and it's going to say media in large letters, media, and then in smaller letters it'll say at Starship Adventures, and then it'll have the YouTube logo. So it will basically be my logo on the left and the YouTube logo on the right, and then in the middle, the top row will in big block letters is going to say media, and then the bottom row in much smaller letters it's going to say at Starship Adventures. And that way, because the main reason I'm doing it is so that if a cop sees me pulled up to a place at night, or he sees me doing something, I'm identified. Look, I'm a member of the media. I've got it right on the outside of my car, and it'll be, it should be okay. Sometimes the cops are jerks around here. Most of the time they're fairly reasonable. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I'm not going to be doing anything illegal to begin with, so I'm not going to be using any of this to drive past areas I'm not supposed to drive or anything like that. So it shouldn't be an issue. But I am going to go storm chase with it, and I think it's important to be identified as a storm chaser, so people know what you're doing out there in the storm. Oh boy. Yeah, that's what I should do. NCC 1701Z. Should I get the red stripe to go down the side too, and the little Delta logo, and I'll get USS Enterprise. I don't think I'll go that far. Now I will get pulled over. All right, so we're coming into South Punta Gorda Heights. There's a lot of roads over here to the left that are not being used. They put them all out there. Some of the things coming up tonight, we got our regular show 9 p.m. And then also I'm going to be, I hope you guys enjoyed the last night I gave you guys a peek at what I do at work. I thought that was kind of cool. It went very well last night, and both Kat and Trey are both wide open to me doing it again if I want to. So I maybe in a week or two, I may plan to do it again, like on a Friday or a Monday or something. I may plan to do it again, and this time get notice out ahead of time and stuff like that, and see what we can do. But I'll be doing that again. Also on Sunday, I do believe I'm going to be doing it on Sunday. It may get moved to Saturday, but right now, Sunday, late morning, I'm going to head out in the car. I don't have anywhere I have to go. I'm doing it just for us here on YouTube. I'm going to be getting in the car, and I'm going to drive to LaBelle, and then I'm going to drive to Clewiston, and then we are going to go all the way around Lake Okeechobee, and I'm going to actually take you to the different weirs and the different spillways and different things that they have on the lake, and I'm going to show you some great views of Lake Okeechobee, a lake that's so big that the actual earth comes up between you and the other side of the lake, and all you can see is water. It looks like an ocean. It's really, really cool. Unless you've looked at an ocean or you've looked at the Great Lakes, this is one of the only other lakes in the country, only other place in the country you can see the Great Lakes and the ocean is Lake Okeechobee, because it's such a big lake. Yeah, I'll stop at some point and eat on the road, and I'm probably going to just stay live. The plan right now is to go live, and I'm going to just check things out. We'll go to different towns. We're going to go to Okeechobee, which is a town up on the north side. I'm going to show you guys Okatani, which is an old closed down. It's a closed down campground and fishing place that's out there. We're going to go through Moorhaven and through Belglade and Clewiston. We're going to check out a lot of internal parts of Florida that you've probably never seen before. Some really cool stuff. It's lots of little fishing villages and little vacation villages, lots of Airbnb stuff out there, and it's really cool. A photon burger. Yeah. And to drink, we'll have a Warp Core Breach. I believe that's one of the drinks in Quark's bar, a Warp Core Breach. You know, that's one thing I never got to see, was that Las Vegas experience up there. They built it, held it, tore it down, and I never got to see it. But I have watched just about every piece of video ever taken in that place. Oh, they do? I'll have to check into that. Yeah, Okeechobee is a neat town. They've got an area of the town right downtown where they've got like monuments to different wars and different things. And I'm probably, if it, weather's okay, I'm probably going to stop and get out of the car 3 or 4 different times along the trip. The good news is this keeps my phone charged. I'm actually making headway here. I was at 70, I'm now at 72. So it's not charging it much, but it is working in the right direction. One of the biggest problems with live streaming for long periods of time is your phone overheating, or your phone going dead because your charging process is not keeping up with the draining process. Because it's daytime, I've got the screen turned all the way up. That takes a lot of power. Plus, I'm broadcasting to the nearest tower site a high definition video image. That takes a lot of power. And then I'm charging the battery, which creates a lot of heat. So yeah, it's a process that the phone's generally not designed for, but this S20 is doing great. It would have already overheated and died if it wasn't for the fact that the air conditioner is working great. All right, so here we go. We're now in Punta Gorda. This is Punta Gorda. We're in Charlotte County, Florida. Punta Gorda, very, very, very old population here. I always thought it was funny. You see a car with like six old people in it. Remember the old days with the big cars? You see a car with six old people in it. It looks like a box of Q-tips. Yeah, I said it. I'm sorry. I'm old now, so I can say shit like that. My hair's starting to turn. And my hair can't decide whether it wants to turn gray or fall out. It's doing a little bit of both. The king of vape. Here's all the car lots on the left. Gretel's the big one up here. He owns about 9 car lots, that guy. Yep, and right here, my mom and I used to love to frequent this Golden Corral right here. Oh my God, I love Golden Corral. I love cafeteria food. There's the fire department. That's Punta Gorda. Punta Gorda Station 1. Charlotte County has a large fire department up here, but the city of Punta Gorda takes care of their own. It's a neat little town. This town was devastated by Charlie. So it's kind of been one of those things where, oh, and here we go. They did something really ignorant here. Yes, a roundabout on US 41 of all places. So like in typical fashion, a roundabout, what you know what a roundabout tells you about your government? It tells you, number one, they're lazy, because this doesn't fix anything. Look at this. Look at this ignorant bullshit. Every single person that comes through here has to slow down to 5 miles an hour and navigate through that thing. That's stupid. Whoever thought of that should not only be fired from government, but should be sued for the loss of money. That's just a ridiculous waste. I'm sure they think it's going great. I'll tell you, I went through that diverging diamond today. They built, if you guys have never heard of a diverging diamond, go to your other screen and look up diverging diamond traffic pattern. And look at that horse shit that they did to our road at Colonial and I-75. What a mess. What they did was, now everybody has to stop at the light, because everybody going eastbound has to cross everybody that's going westbound, and everybody that's going westbound has to cross everybody that's going eastbound, and each has to do it twice. It's the most ignorant thing I've ever seen in my life. It's literally level 10, warp 10, status 10, completely ignorant bullshit. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Okay, and yet they're going on and on about how much better it is. Traffic backs up for effing miles, and they're going, look how much better it runs. I'm like, it doesn't run better. You've added a few lanes, and it still doesn't flow any better than it used to. They've got it to where this turn lane crosses over this lane and then goes up next to this lane, and you know what it ends up doing? It confuses all the old people, which is about 50% of our drivers down here. Literally 50% of our drivers down here are geriatrics. And if you're going to make something overly complicated, like you're driving on the wrong side of the road, for instance, you make it really hard for these older folks to navigate it safely. I really hate that. I really do. I think they could do better. Okay. All right, looking where I'm going here. I still got a little ways to go. All right, there's that Sunseeker Resort on the left. They built this huge thing. These assholes came to town, and they pushed and strong-armed and used their attorneys. Look at this big-ass monstrosity on the left, right? They used all their power. They eminent domained a mini golf course. They eminent domained a a hotel, all kinds of property along here, a few houses. They literally forced these people to give up their private property, which I think should be illegal. I only believe in eminent domain for absolute emergencies like building a bridge. This was ridiculous. They forced all these people, they ripped down all their houses, they got rid of all their businesses so this Sunseeker resort bullshit could move in. It moves in, nobody wants to stay there because there's nothing to do in this town. It's going to bankruptcy. It took them 7 years to build it. Cost overruns, the hurricanes. Oh my God, it was a big mess. They finally opened it. A year later, they announced they're going bankrupt. What a ridiculous mess. Oh my God. What an absolute nightmare. And now it's going to sit there. I mean, they're using it. They've had some stuff in there, but the truth is, they built that thing. It has no beaches there. It's on a river. It's not on. We're not on the ocean. We're on the Gulf. We're on the river. We're 5 miles down the river. If you got on a boat right there, and you 5 or 6, 7 miles out, you would eventually run into the Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America, whatever we're calling it this week. And down there, okay, there's no beach to drive to. To drive to the beach, you got to drive, I swear to God, you got to drive a long way to go to the beach. It's kind of weird. If you got to drive north 20, 30, 35 minutes and go back to the west again, or you got to drive way down to South Fort Myers to go to the beaches down there. Because all the beaches right over here in this area, they're all private. They're all this and that. There's no real public access. They're boat access only. There's a lot of barrier islands. So the access for the swimming beaches per se is 20 miles that way or 25 miles this way. That's it. There is no beach near this area right here. It's the same thing at my house. My studio is 7 statute miles from the nearest sandy beach, but it would take me 40 minutes to drive there. Yeah, and you know what? I would not discount that there's not some shenanigans involved with this hotel, because they literally came into town and strong-armed them into closing down and destroying a bunch of their local businesses. And trust me, people got voted out. There was a mess. It was bad. And I can't believe it ever happened. I really can't. I think it was a huge mistake right from the get-go. All right, and I'm going to be destinating here in about 5 or 6 minutes. I'll stay with you here for a few more minutes, and then I'm destinating, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. But don't forget tonight at 9, and then through the week, every night at 9, and then also 9 p.m. Eastern. The big thing is Saturday or Sunday, probably Sunday, I'm doing that big drive. I'll put out an announcement as soon as I know for sure which day it's going to be. I'll put out an announcement. I'll also put out an announcement that morning, and I'll try to save my. I'll try to save up a couple of notifications that they may let me put something out. So, or maybe they'll put it out for me. I don't know. We'll see. But hopefully we'll get a bunch of people on that drive. I thought I'd get more people on these live drives, but I think it's just a matter of reach. I need to reach out to people that want to do live drives, because that's not normally what I do. So when you step a little bit out of genre, a lot of times you have to work a little harder to get the numbers up, because a lot of my folks may not want drive stuff. They like studio stuff, or they like whatever. So it is what it is. I've been kind of meandering around a little bit trying to find my exact niche, but I also try to keep everything I got going too. Haven't really let anything go per se. Anyway, yep, this is Punta Gorda, and this has been a live drive through Punta Gorda. Yeah, I'm going to be talking when I do this tour. I've actually already started doing my research, the lake and all that stuff. I know I don't mean to sound conceited, but I was raised here. My father and I were fishing on that lake when I was 3. I know a lot of information about that lake already, and I'm brushing. I'm going to have a little bit more for you guys, and I've also got some stories. We're going to talk about the hurricane that washed all the water out of the lake and killed thousands of people, and we're going to talk all about that. I'm going to show you guys the cemeteries. I'm going to show you guys the signs that have been erected in their memory and things like that. So it's going to be cool. I'm going to take you guys to a few cemeteries, a few landmarks, a few parks, a few overlooks. There's going to be some really neat stuff. I know that area very, very well, and I'm going to be able to show you guys some really neat stuff. And I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm going to take you guys to Tampa one day. I'm going to take you guys to Sarasota area, and we're going to check out, the Ringling School and stuff there. There's a lot to see, but this is the one I really wanted to do first because I just love the lake and the area out there, and it's rural. There's a lot to see, lots of cows and sugarcane, and it should be a really fun drive. And I'm not just going to drive. I'm going to be stopping a lot and getting out and walking and showing you guys things and zooming in and explaining. And I think it'll be beneficial to watch. It'll be entertaining anyway. So there you go. All right, guys, I am destinating. It's been good. Thank you for coming along for the ride. And it may, when we do this other one, it may drop out. It absolutely may, because I'm going to be in an area where the cell service is going to go in and out. This is part of the test. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Have a good one. 7 3s, everybody. 7 3.